Okay, I guess time to get this thing started. This is my second one. Uh, First one I did, I told you I was going to make this like 4 parts every time, plus maybe a little overtime. And I plan to do that again. First off, I hope you like my shirt. I dreamt about this shirt before I bought it. And I was going through the store the following day after I dreamt about it, and I saw it in the store. So when I saw it in the store, I had to get it because it was the gorilla of my dream, you know. So that's why I got the shirt. I also got this hat. I like hats. I'm kind of a little different. I mostly like berets and fedoras, hats like this. I'm not too much of a baseball cap guy. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but I like to wear different kind of hats. I have to say, the wife, Mary, told me I shouldn't be drinking and smoking when I'm making this video for the kids. And she's probably right, but they need to see who I am. Plus, I also get to say, don't do it even though I do it, which kind of sounds stupid in a way. But I can say this. You could ask, how old do you think I was when I started smoking? And the answer would probably surprise you. I was 27. It took me a long time to get stupid, but finally got stupid, and then happened to be one of the few that get addicted to it. And hopefully one day I'll quit. So I recommend you don't try it, because you might, you know, accidentally be one of the ones that gets addicted to cigarettes. So it's best not to go there at all. Anyway, this Mary brought this up. I figure I'll tell you a story about her. We've been together since 72. We got married in 72. So it's 2016 now. Do the math. We've been together for a long time. And we've been through highs, we've been through lows, you know, just like everybody else. Managed to come out okay. One time when we were in Utah, we went to a lot of places. We lived in these apartments, and it was late 70s, because we were in this area, they called it Area C, and you paid less rent there because you were right next to the runway. So you'd be watching TV, and all of a sudden, like the guy said, and the killer is, and fucking planes come by, starting to land, and you couldn't hear squat. You know, that's why the place was so cheap. But anyway, we lived there, and we had this one room set up. Back then we were younger, and we liked to party a little bit, you know, have fun. And we had this one room set up, right? And the only furniture in there was like these cushions. And the assignment I was before this place, I was in Thailand, and I bought all these tapestries. They were kind of cheap, but they were really nice looking. And I bought a bunch of different ones. So inside the room, we had them posted on the walls, just hanging down. And we had these cushions, and we had this fan. You turn the fan on, and the tapestries would wave, and you kind of feel like you're in Saudi Arabia or something. It just felt nice. And anyway, one day we went in there for kick back and relax, and Mary says to me, you know, she wants to learn how to play poker. So I'm like, okay, I'll teach you how to play poker. Just one thing, how about this? We play chug-a-lug, okay? We get this glass, and we get some tequila, vodka, whatever, and whoever loses a hand chugs. And she goes, okay, we can do that. I said, okay. So I went and get a bottle of booze, bring a glass over, shuffle the cards, I deal them out, right? And I said, okay, what you got? And she says, I got 3 4s and these other 2 cards. And I go, okay, I've got a pair of kings and a pair of 10s. I win. That's how you play the game. She goes, okay. I go, you got to chug. So she chugs it. Anyway, the rest of the next, I don't know how many hands, you know, if I had a good hand, I won. If I had a bad hand, I'd also won. I made her drink one drink after another. I forgot how many, but there was a bunch of them, you know. And pretty soon I'm kind of sitting there looking at her. She's looking kind of weird, you know. She's kind of looking kind of weird. So I'm like, what's the matter, babe? She says, I want to go pee. And I go, well, go ahead, go pee. And she says, I can't get up. And I go, what do you mean can't get up? She says, I can't get up. I'm too drunk. And I go, okay. So I stand up, go over and I grab her, and I yank her up, stand her by the wall, and I sit back down, and I go, okay, go ahead. And she goes, I don't know if I can walk. And I'm like, what? And she said, I don't know if I can walk. And I said, well, you better be able to walk, because you're going to do it by yourself. I'm sitting down now. And she's like, oh, so she starts going down the hallway, touching the walls all the way down to the John. The John was at the end of the hallway. And she goes into John, and in her condition, she forgets to close the door, right? And she sits down, starts taking a whiz. And I'm watching her. She's got this big smile on her. She's all happy now because she finally took a whiz, right? So I walk over there, and I look at her, right? And I look down at her. And I say, you feel a lot better now? And she's like, yeah. She says, I feel better now. And I go, did you forget something? And she goes, what? She says, your pants. She got your pants on. And she peed through her pants. She's just sitting there. She was so messed up. It was funny. And she's like, whoa, wow. And I said, don't worry, babe. I'll take care of you. So I reach over and I grab her. And the bathtub is right over there. So I grab her and I jerk her in the bathtub. And she kind of hits the bathtub like, and I reach over and turn the shower on, the cold water on. She's like, I screamed. I thought she was going to kill me that night. Yeah, I made her angry, but we didn't really get mad. It was just a lot of fun. So sometimes we do stupid stuff like that, and it's all in jest. I mean, we're still together. We talk about this once in a while. Because there have been other stories where it's the other way around, where I'm on the short end of the stick. And maybe next time I'll talk about that time. And she actually said she felt bad about that, because she saw me going, oh. That's another story. Okay, that's the first part. The next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be about a story from the military. So that's going to be part 2. Be back with you in a second. Okay, time for the second quarter. Second quarter, I said I'd be talking about the story that happened in the military. So today we'll talk about the epilator thing. I don't know if you know what an epilator is, but I'll tell you in a minute. In the military, one of the things I used to hate was you have to shave every day. I mean, every day you gotta shave. Except maybe your day off. Your day off you can go without shaving. But every day got shaved. I did that for 24 years and I hated it. I would grow a mustache, but it could only go this far. And then on the vacation I'd grow a little bit of a beard. But then it'd have to come off, so I went back to work, and every single day you gotta shave. Anyway, my daughter came up to me one time and she said she wanted this thing called an epilator. I didn't know what it was. And she said, you get it up at the store and it pulls the hair out of your legs to make your legs smooth. And I went, okay, sure. So I bought her one. And it's got like a handle and it's a spring that comes out, kind of weird looking. And when you push a button, the spring spins in and out, and somehow it pulls the hair out. You know, it's really weird. Anyway, she got that thing, and next thing I know, the wife tells me she's going to throw it away. And I said, why? She said that the thing was way too painful. My daughter says, too painful. She says, I tried it too. She said, it was way too painful too. And I said, okay. So I got the thing, and rather than throw it away, I thought about it. I said, wait a minute, you know. I thought, I hate shaving. And maybe with this thing, I'll pull that out, and I'll only have to shave every, 4 or 5 days. You know, sometimes you're thinking, but you're not really thinking, because it sounds like a really stupid idea now that I think about it. But back then, I thought it was good. So I got this thing. I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to use that on my face here and get all this hair out. And I won't have to shave every day. So I turned this stupid thing on. It's got this really long spring. And I went to go like this. But instead of getting my face, I got my mustache. And within a split second, it grabbed about this much of my mustache. Just ripped it right out. And I was like, boom, motherfucker. I thought I was going to die. God, that hurt so fierce. I'll never forget that pain. I even had tears coming out of my eyes. It hurt so bad. I went and looked at the mirror, and I had this big old hole right there where that thing works great, man. It does the job. It says it's going to pull the hair out. It pulls that hair out. And that's one of the stupidest things I've done in my life. But like I said before, sometimes you do stupid stuff. That's how you learn. So I guess it's time to go to the next conversation, the next topic. Okay, time to get started for the third quarter. I decided to change it up a little bit because the third quarter was supposed to be about a guide of what to do when you're dead, which in a way is kind of depressing. So I decided I'm going to keep that, but I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter, and I'm going to talk about life. I think that'd be better. Anyway, as far as a guide of what to do after you're dead, because we talked about this before, that maybe when you die, you don't have a good imagination, you don't know what to do. And my job is to tell you or provide some guidance as to what to do, give you some examples. I gave you one before, I'm going to give you another one now. What I would do would be, I would go back to the time I was born. The very time I was born, and watch myself get born, and watch the reaction of my parents, and watch everything that happened, and then just chill and watch my whole life. I mean, I'm talking my whole life, and just see all the things that happen. Because what happens really in life is this. You talk about the things that happened in the past, or I do talk about things that happened in the past, and we have stories about the past. And sometimes you'll tell these stories with someone that was with you, right? Someone that was with you, and you say, this is what happened, and they'll go, no, that's not what happened. And you're like, what? What do you mean that's not what happened? It's what I remember. And what they found out, and this is the truth, is that what you remember is not necessarily so. Sometimes your mind messes it up, you know? I mean, most of the time it's correct, but sometimes it messes it up. So in your life, every time you tell a story, somebody says it was this way instead of this way. Okay, now you can go back and see exactly what happened. See how good your memory was. And I think that would be pretty cool. In a way. Because the downside of it is this, okay? The downside of it is this, is that, because I've thought about this, and the downside is that if you can go back and see what happened in your life, right, which is great, means I could also go back and see what happened in my father's life, and my mother's life, my uncle's life, my aunt's life, my brother's life, anybody's life. I could go from the time they were born, like see my dad, and watch his life and see what happened all the way to make him the way he was, right? And I've never talked about the way he was. We'll talk about it later. But you can see what happened, right? And that bothers me, to be honest with you. That does bother me because the simple reason is this, is that if that's true, that means that right now as I'm talking, not only is it possible for me to be looking at my life as it's going on, it's also possible for my kids, because they're going to die eventually too, but they could be watching me and all the things I do and all stupid stuff, and some stuff is really embarrassing, and some stuff is like, I don't know why I did that, and I'm sorry, you know, but it's embarrassing if you stop and think about it, that in the future, this might happen to you, that everything you do will be looked at by all the people you love, and you're going to get judged. And that's kind of bothers me. But if it happens, it happens, you know. I'm just glad I didn't do anything like super horrible. I did some stupid stuff and some crazy stuff, but and some stuff I go like, why did I do that? But right now I haven't done anything really horrible. But anyway, that's the part about dying right there. I decided to do another part. Another part is about living. I just went and saw my mom. My mom's like 80-some years old, 87, something like that. And my mom's a great lady. She's a wonderful lady. I mean, my whole life I've never seen her cuss. Never. It's one of the few people I can say I've never seen her cuss. My brother said that he saw her cuss once. I mean, me and my brothers were really crazy. So I can imagine, I'm surprised we didn't make her cuss earlier, right? I'm really surprised we didn't make her cuss. But anyway, what I want to do is stop this for right now, and I'm going to show a short clip of her and a couple other people. So for now, I'm just going to stop, and I'll bring me back up in a minute.
They had a bunch
Wow.
So tell me again, Mom, did you like it?
I love it.
The little tablet.
Thank
Manny.
you, Miko and Mary.
Yeah. There's Jonathan. Manny.
Love you.
Jonathan. There's Mary. And there's me.
I want to get some from the house in Mexico.
Oh, okay. So you saw my mom, and the guy next to her was her husband. He's sort of my stepfather, I guess. He's a pretty nice guy. The guy to the left of him is Jonathan. Jonathan is my sister's son, or one of her sons, and to the left was my wife Mary, right? So what I want to do is I want to talk about my mom now for a minute, because we talked about I'm surprised we didn't make her go crazy. Now I'll give you an example as to why I think this. Where we lived at was a very poor neighborhood, and we didn't get a lot of money, but we did get an allowance. We got 25 cents a week. 25 cents a week. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time we got 25 cents a week. So it was like, all right, I got me some money, right? And 6 blocks away from where I live at, right, was this magic shop. I love going to this magic shop because I got into the magic, and I couldn't hardly afford anything, but I could go in there and look at the stuff they had, and sometimes somebody would buy something, and the guy that sold the stuff would show them how to do it. You know, like the little square box you put in a trap, and you get all these cars out. And I knew how that worked because I saw them do it, you know, and they would do other stuff, and it was really awesome. But they had all this stuff in there that you could buy. Some of the stuff was really cheap. Like, one of the things I kind of regret a little bit, not much, but just a little bit, was they had this perfume that was called stink perfume, and it smelled like rotten eggs, and it was only like, God, 15 cents or 10 cents or something like that. I forget what it was. So I bought me a bottle of that, and to this day I feel so sorry, and I apologize if you're seeing this and I did this to you. But I go to school, and this is when I was in elementary school, like 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, something like that. And the girls in front of me, I would get this perfume, and I would put some drops on them and close it. And the stuff stunk so fierce, and I would go, "Girl, you smell like crap." And she turned around, and she'd go like, she'd go, "Yeah, is that me?" I go, I don't know, I think it is. And I knew it was her because I'm the one that did it, you know. And I think back now, how could I do that stuff, you know, like, oh well, it's, when you're a kid, you do stupid shit like that. But anyway, back to my mom, right? Because we were talking about my mom. So anyway, I go in the magic shop one time, and they got this fake blood, right? They got this fake blood. So I see that, and I go, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So I buy this fake blood. I go home, and we lived in a really tough neighborhood. I mean, we used to have gang fights. I'm talking about, you know, like 10, 12 kids against 10 or 12 kids, and fight each other all the time. And like my brother had, this is before he was 9 years old. He had his head busted open 3 times. you know, with boards and rocks and stuff, you know, when we used to fight. And I got my head open once, you know. But anyway, we used to have all these little miniature games because that's the neighborhood we had. We had a neighborhood that the grown-up kids were doing it and the adults were doing it. And as we were coming up, we were doing it too, I guess. Was the part of life, you know. Anyway, so Mom was used to us showing up kind of a little messed up. We never got messed up too bad, but just a little bit, you know. So anyway, I got this fake blood, and I put it all over my face, you know, like I got beat up severely. And I knocked on the door, and when the door opened, I just fell on the floor, just face up, you know, And my mom was like, ah! She freaked out completely. It was hilarious. And then I started laughing, and then she started whooping on me, pretty much about that close, you know. Because she did not find it amusing. But, oh well. That's what you do when you're a kid. And that's also what you do when you know your mom, you know, she's going to get mad. She might hit you a little bit, but she's not going to be much, you know. It's something you can handle. You weigh it, you know, like, okay, if I do this, she's going to hit me, but she's not going to hit me that hard. It's not going to be that bad. Should I do it? And you go, hell yes, I'm going to do it. That's even if when you're a little kid, you know, hell yes, I will do this. It's going to be worth it. It'll be a good story in the future. Because that's the way you should live your life, you know, when you're making choices and stuff. I had a little problem. So this looks different from the rest. But what I was saying is that if you have choices, right? And you look at your choices and you say to yourself, is this going to be a good story? And you say, yeah, it is, you know. You just do it. So long as nobody's really going to get hurt, not like that. It's like maybe yourself, maybe you might get hurt yourself, but you still got to go do it. I mean, you can't spend your life in a bubble avoiding everything, you know. Nothing dangerous, nothing scary. I mean, I ride a bike all the time. It's scary as hell, you know, and I'll be talking about this later, you know. But basically, like I said, if you have a choice to do something, and if it's something that's going to make a good story and nobody's going to get hurt, go for it. That's my advice. Okay, it's time for the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, I said it's going to be a joke. This joke is kind of sick in a way, but I like it. But okay, here goes anyway. I'm riding my bike. My bike breaks down. I'm out in the boonies, middle of nowhere, right? Middle of nowhere. But there's a house there, so I go there in this ranch house. I knock on the door, and as I'm knocking on the door, I look to my left, and I see this pig's walking toward me, right? And it's really odd because this pig has got a wooden leg in the front and a wooden leg in the back, so he's kind of hobbling a little bit. And I'm like, wow, I never seen something like that before. So the guy answers the door, and I looked at him, and I said, hey, my bike broke down, and can I use your phone for a minute? And the guy says, yeah. And I go, hey, the pig, it's kind of odd. And he goes, oh yeah, he says, it's a very special pig. And I go, what do you mean it's a special pig? He says, about 2 years ago, we've got a pond in the back, and some of the nephews and nieces were over there swimming, and they started to drown. And that pig jumped in the water and saved 3 of them, pulled them out as they were drowning. And the adults saw it, but adults were on the way there to save the kids. But by the time they got there, the pig had pulled the kids out. And I went, wow, that's pretty amazing. And I was, did that cause that? He goes, no. He says, about a year ago, my grandkids were here visiting. They were playing in the barn house. And they were playing with matches. They set a stupid thing on fire, and it was burning up. And the pig ran in there and pulled 2 of them out, saved their lives. And I went, wow, that's pretty amazing. That's a pretty good pig. The guy says, it's an awesome pig. It's an awesome pig. And I said, I guess the fire's how he lost his legs. And this guy looks at me and says, "Nah, a pig like that you don't eat all at once." I know that's horrible, but I can't help myself. Thanks for watching. Okay, it's time for overtime. Overtime is if I forgot something or just add a little bit more, whatever I said earlier. And this time I want to talk about that video I showed earlier. They had my mom in it. They also had this guy there. I said it was Jonathan, my sister's son. He rides a Harley too. Okay, so this is a story about him and how he got into Harleys. Anyway, one day my brother comes up to me and he says to me, Jonathan, which is that guy, he says he's going to buy a Harley. And I went, "What?" He says, "Yeah, he's going to buy a Harley. He's been over there and been talking about it, and he's going to buy a Harley." And I looked at him and I said, "Look, this is what you got to do. You got to go talk to him if you see him, and try to talk him out of it." And he gave me this look, you know, like, what are you talking about? And I go, "Look, this is why you got to do this. If you're going to ride a bike, it's serious business, you know. You don't want people riding bikes that are not really serious about it because it's dangerous. So what you're going to do, and I'm going to do if I see him, when I talk to him, I'm going to try to talk him out of it, so that if he's kind of wishy-washy, you can talk him out of it, you know. We just won't get a bite and he'll be okay." And he goes, "Okay." So anyway, a few days go by, maybe a week or so, and I run into Jonathan. So I did what I said I was going to do. I jump all over his shit, starts cussing him out, telling him why you want to get a bike, this and that, and all this stuff, and trying to talk him out of it. And finally, I just bluntly just say, "Why the hell you want to get a bike, Jonathan?" And he looked at me and he goes, "You guys, duh!" And I was like, you know, like, what? Because what basically just said is, when he was a little kid, right, at my sister's house, me and my two brothers, all three of us got Harleys, and we'd go visit my sister, and the bikes would show up, and it'd be like, and they'd show up there, and he'd be outside, and he'd look at us, and he'd go, "Man, when I grow up, I want to do that. I want to do that. You know, that's what I'm going to do." So when I asked him out front, he says, "Why the hell you want to ride a bike?" And he said, "You guys, duh." I know what he was talking about because I've been there when I was younger. I didn't have an answer. I was like, "Okay, let me help you pick a bike then." And that was the end of that. He's got a bike still, and he loves riding, kind of like the rest of us. Anyway, this is it for now. Hopefully, within a week, I'll make another one. Till then, have a great life. Have a good time and enjoy.